What's up everyone, are you good?
Oh shit, here we go again.
Personally, after my last failed attempt with this joke that is alternative medicine, I had to go empty my head with a walk. Luckily for me, I live in a part of the world where it's still possible to find parks, so I decided to head there and enjoy my afternoon a little bit. And you know what? The moment I stepped in the park, I knew I made the right choice.
It was perfect.
Not only did I have the chance to completely forget about the quacks, but after emptying my head, I came to the conclusion that the only natural thing to do was to talk about the deeply philosophical topic that are the parks.
Sure.
But first thing first, let me explain you what is a park. I know most of you know what it is already, but just in case. You see, in theory, parks are essentially one of the last free-third space where you can still go to rest and enjoy a bit of nature, freedom, and life, without being asked to provide anything. If you're a little bit lucky, you might even get a chance to make new friends for approximately 2 hours, because let's be honest, you won't keep contact with them. However, in practice, your experience could be totally different from what I just said, because of the exact same reason: the nature, the others, and their freedom.
I am shocked! Shocked! Well, not that shocked.
To be perfectly honest, going to any parks feels like tossing a coin. Even if the one you usually go to, you never know. You can either have one of the best known experiences to man by interacting with others and witnessing the beauty of nature, or questioning if your self-hatred shouldn't be targeting others. Now, obviously, your park experience may change based on many things, but the first one is the kind of park you'll go to. Because, in case you didn't know it, since the dawn of humanity, a secret and shameful caste system was implemented among the park population. Shocking, right? Well, this caste is based on many parameters, such as the size and the shapes of the parks, but honestly, who cares? People only go usually to 3 kind of parks, so let's review them quickly. Unsurprisingly, if you ever went to a city, at the bottom of the pyramid, you may find the squares or the pocket parks, fitfully trying not to cry out of shame. Frankly, I don't know why we call them parks, because a pocket park is essentially, often literally, just a square where a city decided to put some plants with 1 or 2 benches and a table to eat. You can also add to this sometimes an almost complete children's playground or even a real square of grass. However, you should keep in mind that walking on it is at your own risk. I'm saying this because sometimes even touching the grass could get you fined, you know, just like in real parks.
But that won't stop me.
If you're lucky, it will be allowed, but the small area won't really do much to you. On the right side, if you have pets, you might also be welcomed by a dog toilet, which is nice, I guess, even if it's not always really used correctly. And in some rare occasion, a small sandy area could also be added to the pocket park if the city decided to be fancy. But let's not get ahead of us, we are still in the bottom tier. As you can guess, this kind of park is usually designed to be used by any citizen wanting to rest from the noise of a city, such as old people needing a little bit of rest and families with young kids to tire them up. I understand that when presented to you like that, the pocket park aren't really interesting, but they really can save your life in a city full of concrete and neon lights. The only problem with them is that they can get dirty as hell pretty quickly if not maintained correctly, and this is when they were not initially designed by some drunk architect. Actually, in some cases, those small heaven space in noisy city can be seen totally empty because of their current state.
That's a damn shame.
However, to no one's surprise, the main factor behind their quality is often their localization. I mean, if you just check the difference between the pocket parks in the city's upscale areas or from the poorest areas, the difference will be quite obvious. But let's put behind us the pocket park, will you? If you decide to step up on the park hierarchy, you'll find a neighborhood park. Essentially, it's the same as a pocket park but on steroids, whether it's its size or the fact that walking on grass becomes almost always permitted. At this level, you often reach what people officially consider as a real park. If your neighborhood isn't too crappy, you may even end up with fountains and a full playground for kids with different sports field, and for the luckiest among you, some equipment to exercise. Besides what I've just mentioned, you'll also find a real ecosystem in this kind of park, composed of rats, mouse, and pigeons, living their best life. Of course, on top of the wild animals making this park their home, you'll also see from time to time pets not on leash, such as Cupcake.
Hello there.
A beautiful pit bull as big as a small bear who will do its best to show its love to the neck of the next unprotected kid. By the way, most of the activities you'll do there will involve either a direct or indirect interaction with the whole ecosystem, with or without your consent. So I hope you know how to handle the dogs like Cupcake, because ready or not, Cupcake will be there. I think a more conventional experience to explaining this is a picnic, or any activities involving food and you not moving a lot. Sooner or later, the presence of food will lead you to fight either an army of ants ready to kill himself if it means bringing a little bit of jam to their queen, or a swarm of bees, flies, or any insect at this point. Now, if their defense, I'm pretty sure ants don't have the chance to naturally eat jam every day, so I wouldn't be surprised if humans would do the same in their position. Unfortunately, the real problems, as always, won't come from the animals, but us, the humans.
Are we the baddies?
I know it sounds cliche as fuck, but it is the case. Believe me or not, but the state of a park is almost exclusively impacted by how the current and previous visitors use it. This isn't unique to the parks of this category, but it's much more visible here, especially because you have wider green area. The easiest one to think about is litter. After all, there is nothing more beautiful than viewing something like nature merging with garbage. It's like a rotten cherry on top of a shitty cake. More seriously, the problem is actually so huge in some parks that it becomes quite a miracle to find a small portion of grass untouched by garbage. Some might wonder, how is it possible to leave so much waste behind? And the answer to that is quite simple. It's just a cocktail of oversight, laziness, and some people being disgusting piece of crap. Let's take back the picnic example, okay? Depending on the kind of littering, your event will always be spoiled, just in different ways. If what's around you are leftovers, you could either be welcomed by the smell of rot or a whole bunch of different insects and rodents feasting and potentially ready to contaminate you. If you're lucky to not swim in a sea of leftover, congratulations, you might be in a worse situation, because food is food. Sooner or later, the leftover will be consumed one way or another. The smell may be horrible, but only temporary. On the opposite side, if what's around you isn't food, consider it will stay there as long as no other human remove it. It will slowly poison the only green area you have available, while you sometimes don't even notice it. And that's the worst, because for the big trash, most cities employ people to still try to clean as much as possible of those places. However, when people throw a shit ton of glitter on the sky to celebrate that their baby are either a boy or a girl, you can bet on the fact that removing it will be a nightmare to anyone trying before giving up. And that's what you find isn't organic. The thing is that you could even try to go to the park just to walk and, I don't know, empty your mind, but still end up stepping on Cupcake's last digested meal. I mean, I say Cupcake, but actually sometimes, based on the size of the poop, you could even think it's human-made, and guess what? It could absolutely be the case. You see, unfortunately, sometimes people get drunk, sometimes people cannot wait to go home, and other times people don't have a home. Honestly, whatever are the reasons of the one doing that, human or pet, it's still disgusting when you end up facing such thing outside. But hey, some of you would answer me that wild animals like rats and mouses also poop in this kind of park, and it's only natural. I would definitely agree with you, but the main difference is the size. Like, sometimes I even get concerned for the ones who produce such thing. Also, if doing it in the wild of a park is their only option, I wonder if they couldn't just copy the scouts and bury their poop deep enough to not bother anyone and help Mother Nature to regrow the plants and trees. That being said, even if I can already support the poop, there is one thing that disgusts me even more in littering, and is the people letting behind them the different tools they use to either consume their magical products or get intimate with other people. I guess I don't have to explain to anyone with a younger sibling or even kids why them finding this would be a horrible situation. Obviously, if by any lack of chance you still end up on one of those things, just remember to never touch it with your bare hand. Luckily, this doesn't happen so often, and thanks to the people employed to clean these parks, you shouldn't face it very often. However, as said an old awkward purple man, reality is often disappointing, and as such, if littering isn't a current problem, maybe the people around you will be. And trust me, we have countless ways to interfere negatively with each other in public. Whether it's by being too noisy, such as a classical example of the group of idiots blasting music loud enough to be heard from space, or by being unable to share a place available, like when playing sport games too close to the people picnicking. You know what? I'll retract what I just said. I think a better example would be to actually ending up on the people using those previous tools I mentioned earlier.
Why would you say that?
Yeah, that would be a pretty good way to annoy and traumatize everyone involved, I think. But to be honest, usually those two last kind of activities aren't really a daylight activity. So if you go to the park during the day, you should be safe. And as no one said, what happened at the park in the night stays at the park in the night. Until someone calls the cops and put them in jail. I mean, come on guys, who would be crazy enough to think it's a good idea to do this in such place? I guess some people have an adrenaline rush when doing that there, with the risk of being caught, but being caught in the act must be one of the most humiliating experiences in life. At best, that must be very awkward, but at worst, you could get fined or spend a little time in jail. Now, if your memory isn't too weak, you should remember that it's only the second level in the Holy Park hierarchy. Actually, there is still one last category containing the regional parks. Surprisingly, this category isn't introducing any new problem, but simply multiplying every single previous one mentioned by a factor of 10. Technically, I could also talk about national parks, but their sheer size put them in a whole new level, where calling them parks seems like an insult, so I might keep them for another video. Finally, after all what I said, you could think I hate going to the park, but it's quite the opposite, because what I told you until now was only one side of what parks are. Besides the previous negative points, parks are still one of the best places to relax and enjoy a little bit of nature without anything being asked in return. Whether it's simply to be away from the monotonous look of the rest of the city, to enjoy the view of a beautiful lake if your park is fancy enough, to avoid being stuck between four walls, to rest, or just to touch grass, parks are pretty awesome. And who knows, maybe those annoying people blasting music will become become your new park buddies. Or not. I mean, speak with people, make new connections, or just stay in your lane and enjoy time your own way. It's your own life after all.
A few moments later.
You know what? My previous walk was really good for my mental health. That's it. Today, I'm even gonna try to befriend his dog. Okay, Cupcake, listen, I decided to give you another chance. What do you think?
Nope.
I give up. Anyway, if you found what I say interesting or entertaining enough, please subscribe, click on the bell, share, and tell me in the comment if you agree with me or not. I'll let you go, but before, don't hesitate to go check my other videos. Have a nice day everyone. Bye.